Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Welcome back to Wind Tunnel TV. Tonight, it's the Kylou Glass Gen 4 series here at Texas Motor Speedway. It's a Texas 150. I'm Dean Doucette. He's Jared Carr. Jared, Texas, love the place. Can't wait to get this one going.
Yeah, Dean, and you know, it's funny because the last time we were here, which was back in the summer, we were at the Legacy Texas version back in August. Now we're at the reconfigured as of 2017 version track. Where turn 1 and 2 were redone to be more flat, more wide, I guess you could say, and less of a drop off like 3 and 4 is, Dean. So this is going to be a unique challenge because the Gen 4 cars in real life never ran this configuration, so you can't go back and watch film. But I think it's interesting that despite being the newer version of Texas, the last time we were here, Lance Ripka won, holding off West Pistol late, and tonight Lance Ripka qualifying second here to Chris Owens. So some things never change.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Those who love Texas will always love it, even with a different corner. Although, you know, there's a little bit of a sad spot or a hole in my heart to the old Texas is gone, Jared.
Yeah, I mean, I think Texas Motor Speedway has always been, in real life, right, Dean, a track that has a lot of different feelings. You know, the drivers, I mean, this track had all kinds of problems when it was first being built. You know, if you remember the 1997 inaugural race, there were weepers because it rained the night before. And I think about 10 cars wrecked in turn 1 on the very first lap. So hopefully we don't see that tonight, Dean. But, you know, there's a lot of mixed opinions about Texas. I've never been a massive fan of Texas, but I do enjoy it and respect the racing that goes on here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. You brought it up. These cars never ran here, so we'll see how they handle, in particular, 1 and 2, or never on this configuration at least. And I'm interested to see, someone make this high line work through 1 and 2? Because it, you know, depending on the day and the time and all of that, it can be done up there, Jared.
Yeah, 100%. And we've seen that. You know, I think when we were doing the Sunday Xfinity series, I think we saw some drivers use that line, and it really worked out well. And even in some of the Truck Series races I've done, not very recently, but when this track first came out, was released in 2020, and the first couple years of this track, the high side was very good 1 and 2. Now, obviously, there's been some updates on iRacing that have kind of changed the track characteristics all over the board. So it'll be interesting. I agree with you. I think if that line can work, I think that's going to be such a vital line to get runs off the corner.
It is. Let's go ahead and take a look at our championship standings. You know, only 2 races in the bag. Both of them won by the rifleman here, Jason Ratliff. Can he be stopped, Jared?
Well, yeah, you look at last season. I mean, the first 3 races last year, you know, very similar type schedule, Chicagoland, Rockingham, Vegas. They were run by 3 different people. But then all of a sudden, Jason Ratliff hit a hot streak. Atlanta, Darlington, Bristol. And he won 3 races. He won 4 out of 5 races. The one race he didn't win was actually here at Texas Motor Speedway, the Legacy version. The last time we were here, he was involved in a wreck and ended up finishing toward the back of the field. But, Dean, you know, I think that last season showed us that Jason Ratliff, the rifleman, is going to come to play every day of the week. And if you're going to be competing with him for a title or for the race win, you're going to have to bring your A game that night, every night, to be up there with him.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about that. You know, a lot of guys who were great out here. You remember last year's championship come down to 4 or 5 cars, Jared. I mean, I'm not sure which one it was, but I mean, they were all in the hunt, you know, and it was a pretty close race. So I expect some of these other people to come back here tonight. And, you know, Ripka is a guy that you talked about. Maybe he comes into victory lane here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be a very interesting race, and with the being tonight, cool track, we'll see how it plays out.
Let's get into tonight's starting grid. Chris Owens in the 26 machine on the point tonight with a time of 29.721. Lance Ripka, we just talked about, he'll start on the outside of row number 1. It's Jason Ratliff, your points leader. Back-to-back victories to start the season. He'll start 3rd. Shane Fleming, I should say. Shane Fleming will start in 4th. Jason Spear and Michael Walker in row 3. It's Tony Ratliff and Tom Ashley in row number 4. Rachel Hunt will start in the 9 hole with Tom Ashley Adam Newton, starting in 10th. Greg Ratliff and Wes Pistol will round out your top 12.
And you look back there, row 7, 13th and 14th, Ross Weiss and Jason Brantley. Row number 8 will be Todd Gilly and Klaus Williams, who had a good run last time we were here. Row 9, Herb Ashley and Paul K. Travis, and that's the last of the drivers that took times. We got Tom Lester, Ricky Williams, and Bob Lepreme rounding out your field here tonight. 21 cars, Dean.
21 car field here. Ricky Williams not gridding up. He might race yet, though. We see a lot of this, guys starting on pit road. A little bit of a safety issue, I guess, Jared.
Yeah, sometimes like maybe you have new equipment or your connection's a little up and down. You don't want to be in the pack and cause a problem. So a lot of drivers sometimes elect to start from that pit road.
All right, just about ready to get rolling here. Important here, as it is everywhere, to get some clean air out here. We'll see who gets the start. Owens and Ripkins take the green. They're down and away. Nice clean start up front.
Everybody doing a good job here, but Ripka losing out a little bit, and Ratliff is underneath them already.
Yeah, and that's the tricky spot, right? Starting second, you can lose it quite easily. The rifleman looking to surge ahead. Further back, Hunt and a bunch of other cars in. Ratliff and Weiss back there. They're in a bit of a mess back here.
Yeah, 2 and 3 wide back in the back there. Ripka barely cleared Ratliff off the corner, and Ratliff still underneath of him, had to take a tight turn there. I mean, these guys battling hard. This is for second position. Chris Owens loving that as he steps out to about a half a second lead.
Yeah, this is dangerous, starting the race off side by side. You're going to wear your stuff out a bit. I think the rifleman knows it. He slips into 3rd and lets Ripka take 2nd. Shane Fleming in 4th, Spear in 5th. Status quo in the top 8 from the start of the race.
Yeah, big moves toward the back of the field as well, Dean. We had, I'm trying to get a visual on that machine, but man, we had some big racing back toward the middle of the part of this field. They're still racing.
Yeah, lots of great racing going on. You see Brantley just pounded the wall on the straightaway. Maybe the late exit of 2, I guess. So hopefully that machine's all right.
Yeah, it's Klaus Williams. Klaus Williams making some big moves coming to the front. He had a bad start, lost some positions, but he's trying to make them up now as he's moving through the field. But everybody up in the top little bit here, Dean, has started to get sorted out.
Yeah, and Chris Owens, well, they sorted it out. He walked away. He's up 3/4 of a second over Ripka. Ratliff sliding in behind. And we talked about pushing the machine. You can clearly see Jason Ratliff, he backs way out, Jared. He's falling back a little bit. This is on purpose.
Yeah, it is. And the thing is I do wonder if he was prudent using those tires at the beginning of the run, because him and Ripka were going pretty hard at each other. And track position is paramount at Texas. I don't think this is a very easy place to pass at, even in these cars, and it never has been super easy. But I do wonder if that's going to be something that plays a factor as Ratliff almost getting in the wall off the corner. Oh, no. Brantley's through the grass. Brantley's in the grass, wrecking back here.
That's Greg Ratliff going through the grass there.
Greg Ratliff, sorry.
Yeah, Greg holding on to it, though, and the Toad Man cut him a little slack. So did Klaus Williams, I think. They both get out of the throttle, and caution has come over the track.
And that caution was actually for Tom Lester. Lester, same thing happening to him at the same time. Kind of just got down there on the white line and got loose, and that was all she wrote. Nobody got into him, though, thankfully.
Let's get a replay of Lester here, and you can see, yeah, he got under that white line. You're right, and that car just immediately broke loose on him.
Yeah, that's something we'll have to watch, Dean, as this race goes on. The pit road is notorious, one of the harder 1.5 miler pit roads because it's a very abrupt entry. And on top of being an abrupt entry, that transition, especially if you don't turn in at the right spot, can be very harsh and can really upset the car. There are ways to avoid that, but you have to be late, and a lot of drivers are not willing to be that late to get onto pit road. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out as the race goes on tonight.
Yeah, it really will. Those green flag stops, we got a lot of aggressive pitters out here. I'm looking forward to seeing that later in the race. Right now, early goings, who's coming in? Probably the whole field, Jared.
I don't know. I think that this is a good time to gamble and maybe save a set of tires. But we'll see. I mean, I don't know if I would pit if I was in the middle part of this field.
Wow.
Oh, we got some stayers in the
We
front.
got
Here
a
we
little
go.
bit of mix-up here. Very interesting stuff. Someone
Yeah,
else.
I thought it
Go
was
ahead.
early. Sorry.
Yeah, you did. You did think it was early. I don't. I mean, I think, I think they got enough tire sets, Jared. I think I want some fresh rubber here. Little surprise. Some guys who stayed out to gain some track position. The Bulldog, Adam Newton, already up 6 spots into 4th. Wes Pistol and Ross Weiss up 7 spots. They're in 5th and 6th. Rachel Hunt's out here. Travis, Lapreme, and Ricky Williams, who started on pit road, they're all up over 10 spots now. So, Ricky Williams maybe want to stay out of the mayhem. He's in it now, Jared.
Yeah, he is. And you look at the pits, and Dean, I'm seeing down here that we had somebody speed, and that's Jason Ratliff.
Yeah, Jace the Rifleman speeding. He'll go to the 21st position, Jared. So start off with back-to-back wins, and then he was fighting for second tonight. He looked like a possible race winner. I don't know now. He's got a lot of work to do.
Well, it's a intriguing storyline, at least, I think. I think it's going to be hard-pressed to keep this guy down. I mean, you think about the last time we were at a Texas track. I mean, he didn't have the best race, but he led 25 laps at the end of that race. Just got caught up in a wreck, and I think that the same thing, you want to avoid getting in a wreck, but I think it's too early to count out the Rifleman.
It is. I like this for the people who stayed out, even though I'm kind of against staying out. Track position's so important. We're going to see how this all plays out. First off of pit road, Jason Spear back in 11th. Tony Ratliff, Jason Brantley, the Toad Man, all part of that group that pitted.
Yeah, and I think, Dean, I like it if you're in the front of this, right? If you're Newton, if you're Pistol, Shane Fleming, the race leaders that stayed out, first and second. Weiss, I like it. Where I don't like it is, guys that like Paul K. Travis, Lapreme, Ricky Williams. Somebody's going to be at the very end of this. It's no slight on those drivers in particular, but being the last, couple rows of drivers that haven't pitted is always a precarious situation because you're going to have these fresh guys coming up on you very quick, and it can be really daunting for a few laps.
Absolutely. Both on your driving and on the mental side of things. We'll see how they handle it.
I'll check up back here around Jason Spear, so something to watch there as these drivers getting ready. Everybody gets it sorted out, but we'll touch and go for a second.
All right, they get her sorted out. Owens and Ripka bringing them down. Newton and Fleming in row 2.
Bad start from Ripka. Newton almost getting in the back of him, and that's the thing, Dean. With those old tires, there's a heat cycle on them. There's not as much grip when you quickly accelerate, and several drivers even further back. Ricky Williams, a bad start, and some of these guys on fresh tires trying to get through here, and it's going to be a tight battle in the middle of this pack. Klaus Williams loose off of turn 2.
mayhem at the back. The rifleman trying to come through.
And Newton very loose on the outside of Ross Weiss, holds on to it. They almost wrecked off that corner, Dean. That's a very rough transition. Great job by everybody involved. The top 5 scooting away. We got 3 wide through the middle. Tony Ratliff was in the meat and the sandwich for a second.
Yeah, this back portion there, really a lot of difference on tires back here and speed. Guys want to get through here quickly, and it's not that easy. Out front, Owens getting away again.
Oh, Newton's loose. Newton's wrecking off turn 2. Turn 4, Dean. Sorry, he's down pit road. He's going to hold on to it, but that's going to be a speeding penalty for the 2 car.
Wow, the Bulldog throwing it away early on here this evening. Tragedy.
Great save. I don't think he hit anything, Dean, but the problem is he sped down pit road. I don't know if they clear those type of penalties, but that's probably going to undo his race as he is on pit road still. The leaders are coming by now.
You know, and just watching that replay, looks to me like this car is a little sensitive here, Jared. The middle of 3 and 4, he hit a very tiny little bump, and it seemed to really throw the car out of shape.
Well, Dean, we've seen this in real life. If you watch the race here in spring with the next-gen car, there is a tunnel in 3 and 4. A lot of people don't realize that because it's not really noticeable in a lot of the other cars. But right about where Rachel Hunt is right now, there's where the tunnel is. And probably you weren't on it, but I was. Happened to be on the car. But there is a bump there, and that bump upset Josh Berry, who is leading the race earlier this year. The next-gen car obviously a lot different than this car, but there is a rough transition in there. If you hit it wrong all throughout that transition, it can really upset the car.
Well, I think we just saw that. It looked like it surprised him, and I don't blame him for being surprised, really. It looked a little odd to me what happened there. We look back at Ricky Williams now, right behind him. You got Tony Ratliff, Jason Ratliff already up to 12th. He's climbing fast. Claus Williams, the Toad Man, Michael Walker, all in this pack. Man, they're tight here, and they're looking to move forward.
Yeah, Tony Ratliff a little bit loose in the entry of turn 1. He's going to lose a spot to, I guess, his nephew, Jason, there. And Klaus Williams looking to follow. But I did want to highlight our pitters. Our leading pitters are Jason Spear and Jason Brantley in 8th and 9th. That's where they started, Dean. As Klaus Williams gets super loose off turn 4, everybody's going to go by him. He's going to lose 4, 5, 6 positions already, Dean. He's sliding up into the 63 machine.
Yeah, that's Herb Ashley there, or Tom Ashley and Herb Ashley right on the outside of him. So things going on. I noticed another car. I'd already forgotten who it was, but someone else lose through 4. So these guys are going to have to manhandle this car around the track, and I mean, it is going to get tricky out here.
Dean, Wintel TV stuck me up here on the roof. It's kind of cold, but you can see the whole entire track going on here. But we got all kinds of action all over Texas here tonight.
Yeah, trying to get some good visuals on here on Texas, because there's so much going on. I don't know if we're gonna make it through a run tonight the way these cars are acting out here.
So we got some chats going on here. We got Scott Olson, Dean. I don't know if you know who that is, but he wanted to ask. He wants me to ask. Or
hold on,
ask,
before you finish
Dean,
that. If it's involving NFL or the Lions, I don't want to hear
it. He just wants to know how to pass here from you, Dean.
Oh, at Texas, this is it's a great place. You got to set them up here, in my opinion. And you got to set them up off of 2, right? You want to get a massive run off of 2 and get your positioning down underneath the car, entering into 3. Then you can complete the pass down there. It's a full lap pass most times here at Texas.
I thought there was more to that. I thought maybe there was an incident or something snarky there, knowing you and Scott.
Well, now that you mention it, I'm sure he's laughing at. No, he's aware of a certain incident between me and a certain someone that is from many moons ago. That wreck will never die. He likes to say that he hit a bump and slid up into me. I don't know, Jared. It seems like a lie to me.
For sure. Real quick though, Dean, I want to shout out Shane Fleming. He was running in second. He just let Adam Newton and Ripka go by, but he was running second, Dean, and we've seen this out of the 90 machine having a great run again here tonight. And Dean, we talked about him last week, or a couple weeks ago, I think, at Atlanta. He kind of got out front and he was doing pretty well, but the car seemed to go away. And I'm kind of interested to see if he's learned something coming in here to Texas tonight, but he's having a good run here early part in this race.
Yeah, well, we hop on board with him here, Jared, and you can just see. And the thing that we look at when we look at Shane Fleming is he oversteering the car, right? Overturning the wheel, muscling it down to the bottom. I mean, you see a little bit here in 1 and 2 where he kind of throws it left in the middle part of the corner. That can be indicative of a little bit, but it seems a little more balanced for him here tonight. I think this might suit him a little better here.
Yeah, the other thing too is it's very easy to slip the nose in 1 and 2 at Texas, and it's in this version of Texas, and it doesn't matter the car, excluding the next gen, because the transition is so much different, and it's so open through there. And you watch, when I was watching Fleming on board, the car is very unsteady through there, and so you have to kind of counter steer there, kind of diamond that corner. And you see he's kind of gotten a good run through these corners, Dean, the last couple laps. He's kind of gained back up on Ripka. I think he let Ripka and Newton go because he just didn't want to battle. He wanted to save his stuff, maybe learn something by following these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the case. What I'd like to see out of these guys, I'd like to see them get to that bottom, that white line that you talk about all the time, Jared. Get down there in 1 and 2 and really let that car rotate and roll, right? You got to be patient. If you come out of that corner too early, you're going to have to overturn coming towards the wall. You get two conditions. One, you're going to get tight, you're going to push out to the wall, and two, the car is going to want to snap loose late on exit. So this is a tricky track these days.
Yeah, and the transition from coming off turn 2 is very flat. It used to be flatter on the old version, right, Dean? This one's still pretty flat, and you're exactly right. If you start cranking that wheel, you really need to unload the car coming off the corner. You need to be, basically turning toward the wall as you exit the corner here at this track more than any other track. You should be doing that everywhere, but this track in particular will bite you if you don't do that.
Yeah, and I always talk about a famous, one of my first self-taught lessons was here at Texas, Jared. Couldn't figure out how I was getting beat so badly, and I watched the guy who won the race from his in-car, and I'm telling you, he sent that car to Jesus down in 3 and 4, and you can do that here at Texas. You can drive it straight into the middle of the corner almost.
Oh, contact back here. Klaus Williams gets in the back of Greg Ratliff. Dean, sorry about the cutting off the story there, but I don't know how they didn't just wad him up back here. Great driving by these two drivers, but I think Greg Ratliff may have gotten a little bit loose in the center of the corner, and now we got Gilly in the wall just ahead of him, but almost had a big one back here.
Man, all kinds of action. We're missing a lot of it. Sorry about that, folks, but it is what it is. A lot of stuff going on out here. Your leader here on lap 27, Chris Owens. Lance Ripka in second. Remember, Jared basically picked him there, or at least touted his prowess here at Texas. Shane Fleming hanging on, but he's under heat now as the Pistol, West Pistol, has come into the frame.
Yeah, and you think back to the last time we were at Texas. I don't want to keep repeating that we were in a different version, so we'll just kind of keep that in the forefront. But Pistol did win the pole here at Legacy, Texas last time, so he's got a knack for this track just as much. He only led 9 laps last time we were here. It was pretty much a race dominated by Ripka and Jason Ratliff along with Travis Rogers, so really it could be down to just Ripka and Owens and Pistol here tonight, Dean.
Yeah, I like what I'm seeing from Pistol right now. He looks like he's got a good handle on it. We see him here in 1 and 2. Just a hair off the bottom. Late he gets down there. That's a pretty good line. Low and late. You heard me say that all the time, Jared. I love the low and late exit.
Yeah, and the other thing I like is the early and slide, or not slide, but drift up in the middle and kind of diamond that center and kind of get low and use the paint off of turn 2 is kind of my secondary line that I really like at this track, especially in the trucks and some of the harder to get the power up in cars. Not necessarily this car, but some of the trucks where you just don't have that throttle power. It's a really good line to run.
Michael Walker coming off the corner underneath of Paul Travis. Michael Walker will take that spot and move up into 9th.
Looking right now too, the fresh tires have started to put pressure on Shane Fleming now. That's Ratliff and Jason Spear. Shout out to Jason Spear, Dean. I mean, last time we were here, he only made 19 laps. So doing a little bit better than that here tonight.
Yeah, and I would imagine probably not of his doing, but I kind of like Spear here tonight. I mean, this is his type of race, right? It's a little bit hard to drive the car. He's a patient driver. He's not going to overdrive that machine, so maybe he'll be good. But watch out, the Rifleman's on the move, Jared.
Yeah, he's following Jason right through it, and that's, kind of what I think he's doing. He's letting Jason open up the hole. He's able to save his stuff, make Jason work him over, and he's just going to follow him in once the hole's open there. Looking a little bit farther back, Ross Weiss back on the track tonight. I think he missed a couple races here at the start of the season, but Ross having a good run inside the top 10. He was really solid last time we were here, Dean, and actually he finished 4th. So almost got on the podium the last time we were here. So definitely several drivers have a knack for this Texas.
Yeah, and it's always interesting to me what track, who shows up. When we first started doing this series, I would say Weiss would be one of the favorites to win a championship. But, I don't think every track is to his liking, but here tonight, he's looking really strong.
Yeah, it was the closest he got to talking to us in the wind tunnel booth. I'm sure that is something that he really is desperate to do.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody loves talking to us, Jared.
Another driver doing really well, Jason Brantley. I mean, 8th position for the number 3 machine. Jason was really starting to improve in this Gen 4 car toward the end of that season. And we talk about the Xfinity Series. We saw some really good races out of him in the Xfinity Series. And here tonight, I mean, he's got a knack for this track as well. I mean, he finished in the top 10 last time we were here. Great job by him here tonight as well.
Yeah, looking good. Michael Walker right behind him in 9th. They're both closing on Fleming, so Fleming fading again, Jared. I mean, he didn't look too egregious or anything how he's driving. Maybe he's just being patient here, but, I'm hoping for the 90. I like Fleming. I would like to see him get up here and get a podium finish and get to talk to us.
Absolutely, and I think Shane, if I can offer Shane one piece of advice, it is follow the veterans for a little bit. See what they're doing. I know he's got a lot of speed at the beginning. He clearly understands what he can get out of the car, but you got to learn and watch these guys that are out there you're competing against, the Ratliffs, Michael Walker, Ross Weiss, Wes Pistol, Troy Torgerson, who's not here tonight. Those kind of guys, you can learn a lot by just watching him as he almost gets the wall off turn 4, and now he's going to have some company from Brantley and Michael Walker.
Yeah, he's fading here. Brantley and Walker coming in a hurry. Walker in particular, I think he's looking good here tonight. Up a little further, the Rifleman into 5th. He's about, 0.3 behind Spear. Then you got Pistol about 0.8 ahead. Then Ripka another 2nd up the road. And then it's Owens, your leader. Now, he's got 0.7 on Lance Ripka, but I think Ripka closing in. They're running very similar times right now, Jared.
Yeah, they are. And, I think that this is going to be very interesting as the run continues. Fleming got super loose to the center of turn 1 and 2, Dean, and now Brantley is all over the back of him. Another driver I want to point out, and maybe, I don't want to be a negative guy, but I'm going to point out something because there is numbers. Michael Walker had 2 bad finishes last year in his championship race that weren't involving wrecks, and one of them was Texas. He finished 9th. He was a non-factor the last time we were at Texas. Never was running higher than 7th the entire race. So I wonder if Michael Walker's got that in the back of his head as he's trying to make his way through the field right now.
Well, Michael Walker is your champion, is he not? Or is that in the other series?
That is this series, yeah.
All right. Yeah, so, never sleep on the champion as he moves on up to 7th right now. So there you go.
But does that, Dean, as a driver, does that play into your mindset? Like, man, the last time we were here, even though it's a different version of the track, like I was bad. I just didn't have it that night. Does that play into your mind, or you just kind of chalk it off like, oh, I just had a bad night, whatever?
Well, I mean, you're asking me specifically, but I think in general it does to guys. It doesn't for me. Jared, I can barely remember what I had for breakfast.
Fair. You had bacon and eggs, I think.
I actually did today, Jared, so that's a good call.
Funny.
You got your crystal ball out there. That's a rarity for me, too, so that's a good pickup. I hope it's not from my breath, Jared.
Well, they have mints in the basket.
As long as it isn't lotion in the basket, we're all right.
No, I think Barron's taking all that home.
Brantley up 6 spots into 8th now. Weiss up 7 spots into 6th. And West Pistol up 9 into 3rd. So those are your big movers on the night right now.
Dean, we talk about this season, sorry. And Chris Owens has been fast every race that we've been in. And the challenges have been interesting every race we've been in. We talk about last week, with the race that we had last week. But this week, Lance Ripka is there. I mean, there is something to the 52 machine when it comes to Texas. He was very good in the Xfinity car here, very good in the Gen 4 car here, and he is not letting Chris Owens get too far ahead here, Dean.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been enough time back on the track at this point, and I think we've been starting to see the return of the 52 to form. We've been seeing this for weeks, maybe months at this point, and really all we're waiting for is a string of wins, Jared. Maybe it could start here tonight.
His only win last time in last season's Gen 4 series was here at this track, leading 657 laps in the event, Dean. And you look at this top 3, they're now kind of under a blanket as West Pistol, our pole sitter from
Owens is in.
Chris Owens he's done it again, Dean. He's done it again.
He has indeed. Lap 45, cutting it into thirds. He comes in. Weiss comes in with him. So here we go. Very interesting stuff. You got the Toad Man coming in along with Leprime as well. So these guys are all obviously going to go 2 stops. Now what we have learned about this car, Jared, is you do not want to. Here comes Ripka. Wow. So I'll tell you this. If they can make it to halfway, Jared, these guys are out. They're out of it. I mean, that's I'll lay it on the line because the tire wear in these cars has just not shown the drop-off necessary for an extra pit stop. This is going to be super interesting here. Either everybody's got a pit or they're cooked, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, everybody's got to pit once.
I'm saying twice. If everybody...
Here comes Jason Ratliff is in. He pitted on lap 7, Dean. So Chris Owens has caused everybody to play that card, Dean. He pulled a card out and said, you guys are going to, I'm either going to be on by myself or you guys are going to follow me in. And he pulled 2 of the top 5 with him.
Now, Jared, how important would it be, those guys who pitted on lap 7, maybe have a little extra fuel? Can they make it to halfway? I mean, I'm not sure they can. I'm not even thinking they really can, but if they keep staying out lap after lap, it'll start to come into visualization here. And, I mean, my goodness, Pistol, Spear, Walker, could these guys go the distance?
Well, Jason Ratliff pitted with these guys, pitted with Spear, Walker, Brantley, and he's on pit road. He's already down the way. So I think that these guys that pitted late are not going to be able to make it on a one stop here tonight. So, and here comes Pistol from the lead. Now it's going to turn it over to Jason Spear, leading his first laps of the year.
All right, the 83 machine out in front. Got those logos all over that car. I love seeing it. Spear Motorsports, Jason Spear out front right now on lap 49.
Reminds you of like a Best Buy car, Dean.
Well, famously, Jason, it does now, right? He ran the all blue paint for a long time, and he'll have to forgive me that I don't remember the name, but local short track legend, around the area. That's kind of what that car originated from. It's gone through a bit of a metamorphosis here lately and got a lot of logos and sponsorship on there, so it looks a little different now.
Yeah, Jason doing a good job, but I think that everybody that did not pit under the very first caution has pitted now. That's for sure. So the only people out there running right now is the only one actually is Ricky Williams. He has not pitted yet in this race at all. But aside from him, the top 7 all pitted on lap 7, our first caution of the night. So this is going to be interesting. Here comes Greg Ratliff, one of our other drivers that had pitted on lap 7. He's on pit road. So Dean, I think you're going to be hard-pressed to get anybody to make it unless they've been saving since the beginning of this run.
Well, you can think it. We'll see what happens. Jason Ratliff leading the group that came off of pit road. He goes around Brantley. So Ratliff got in front of Ripka through the pit stops. That's very interesting.
Well, the big interesting story, Dean, is some penalties. And I hate to be the guy. I feel like I'm always the guy talking about negativity on the show. But we have, let's start at the bottom. Let's start at Shane Fleming, pit road penalty. Todd Gilly, a pit road penalty. Adam Newton, a pit road penalty. And Chris Owens, a pit road penalty.
Yeah, I was just ready to touch on that. The 26, your early leader of this race, of every lap of the race, gets a penalty. He is in bad shape here. My goodness, has this changed things up?
Yeah, and Adam Newton, I do want to preface, his penalty was from the spin that he had down pit road. He has not pitted yet, so but he did get a penalty for that. That's why he's 2 laps down 18th. But that is tough for Chris Owens, Dean. I mean, that is a tough day at the office. You dominate the opening stands at this event. You pit early, you bring everybody on pit road, and you did the one thing you couldn't do, and that's speed.
Well, I'm going to blame the Toad Man, Todd Gilly, for this, if you don't mind, okay. Jared.
That's fine.
Because, you started the season by saying no penalties race 1. It was race 2. You mentioned, I can throw you under the bus a bit.
Yeah, you can.
The Toad Man, was the man who got the first penalty, and now the floodgates have opened.
Yeah, Todd Gilly was the only penalty last week, and we've had 4, well, let's call it 3, because I'm not going to count Newton's, because that was an accident. But, 3 penalties here tonight so far. Still got some pit stops going on. Brantley down pit road now, pitting on lap 55, Dean, and that's not enough time to make it to the end of this event. So he's another one of those early pitters that hasn't come in yet.
Yeah, very interesting. 55, I don't know how much longer they'll stay out and whether it's an advantage or disadvantage, assuming they have to do 2 stops anyway. We'll see how it all plays out. Much like Jared, we're seeing right now how the whole NASCAR scene's going to play out as the trial has begun.
Yeah, Dean, that's going to be wild. I don't know where it's going to end up, and I don't know what we're going to be watching in February when all of it's said and done.
I mean, nobody's going to hang, are they?
Well, I don't think so.
Okay, just checking. You never know. Well, I mean, there could be a lynching at the very least,
Maybe. Very true.
Yeah, it's super interesting for those who care. Some don't anymore. And I certainly am interested in it. We'll see where that whole thing goes.
Yeah, I think it's going to be massive, no matter how you slice it up. For anybody that has ever watched the sport, it's going to make a change. What that change is going to be hard to say.
All right, let's go on board here, Jared, with the Rifleman. That is Jason Ratliff as he goes by our leader, Jason Spear, to get his lap back. So Jason Ratliff out here in 5th position, And I just want to focus on his wheel here, folks, and we'll see how he takes these corners. I mean, there's a little bit of maneuvering around there, Jared, but all in all, looking pretty stable.
Yeah, apologies. I was trying to get the camera pulled up there, and I was having the time of my life doing so. But yeah, let's look at Ratliff coming off turn 2, and you see, that's what I'm talking about. You open that wheel up, and you should be straight 3/4 of the way through through turn 4. He does a really good job there. Watch this little bump there, and you see that bump where the tunnel is too, Dean, when his car kind of jolts to the left and right there in 3 and 4, but back on the front straightaway again. But watch how unbalanced that car gets right there on the second dog leg. I mean, that's something I've noticed at these dog leg tracks where the car just wants to unwind coming out of those turns, and I think that's really interesting. But I can't, I'm sure if I really look hard, I could point out some flaws, but otherwise I think Jason Ratliff doing a pretty B+, A- job at the minimum.
Oh, grading, getting into it now. But yeah, I mean, I like what he's seeing, and what you'll notice, or what I notice anyway, almost an uneasy feeling going into 1, Jared. What's going on there? What's the dynamics of the entry into 1 here at Texas?
Well, I think the first thing we got to talk about is the flatness of the dog leg here. So they're typically. And we've heard in the interviews this year when we did Atlanta, when we did Charlotte last year, or Atlanta last year, or Charlotte this year, where drivers are like, well, I had to let off the gas a little bit in the tri-oval because the car was so unsteady. And it's just the amount of horsepower mixed with the lack of grip and the lack of banking in those corners. So you're going through the tri-oval, or the dog legs there, and the car is already unbound as you're exiting those dog legs. You're probably not full throttle, I would assume. We'll maybe figure that out in our interviews. And as you come into turn 1, it's so flat. You're just staring down into a bowl, Dean. And it's a wide, shallow bowl compared to 3 and 4. And it's hard to kind of pick out where the car wants to go because it's so flat on entry. And then all of a sudden it just opens up into this bowl.
Yeah, that's a great way to describe it, the bowl. And I don't think it's true that there's a hill you kind of go over, but it almost feels like that because you're entering that bowl, if you will. So it's an interesting and unsettling feel as you kind of throw it down in there and then try and get it to the bottom and manage it. And you'll see it now, our leader, Spear, on pit road. Walker had just come in as well, I think a lap earlier, so Spear unable to make it as well. That'll hand it over to Jason Ratliff, the rifleman, looking for 3 in a row. He'll be your race leader.
Yeah, and I look at this race, and the difference is the pit road, and I know your times are different than mine. So what I'll say is, it was about 1.5 seconds slower for Lance Ripka than Jason Ratliff on pit road, and you're seeing that on the track right now. The difference between these two drivers is 2.1. So you talk about losing 1.5 of that 2.1 just on pit road. That's
and it's even worse on mine, Jared. We have him Ratliff at a 44.7 for pit lane time and a 47.2 for Ripka.
Yeah,
so 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, it's 2.5 seconds. So, I mean, either way you go, I mean, that's a lot of time to give up just on pit road and expect to try to contend for the win. And Ripka's definitely put himself behind the 8 ball. Still have one more pit stop. We do know Chris Owens sped the last time through. It can always happen to Jason Ratliff. It can happen to anybody, Dean. Now the
yeah. No doubt about it. Weiss and Travis is gone. That's Lester behind Weiss. So Lester, lap down, I believe. Could be more than that. Could be two. Two laps down.
Yeah, and real quick update on the field, Dean. We did lose Ricky Williams. He's pulled to the garage. We did lose Herb Ashley. He's out of the race. I did not see any incidents with either of those drivers, so I think they just called it a night.
All right, a couple of retirements. Owens working his way around Claus Williams. Claus fighting back. It could be vice versa. Maybe Claus is going around Owens, I guess.
Yeah, everybody's really spaced out right now, Dean. The only battle that I'm really seeing on track is Greg Ratliff and Tom Ashley, Paul Travis in there as well.
And it looks like Tom Ashley goes right on through. So Greg Ratliff down to 7th right now. Brantley a little further back, and there is a Toad Man. He's several laps down at this point.
Newton on pit road. He had not pitted, but he did speed on pit road earlier, so he's having to come in now.
So the interesting thing to watch here, Jared, is maybe, Spear and Walker in that area. Walker just ran his best lap, a 30.1. So can these guys with these later pit stops do something and run these guys down?
Yeah, and, the other thing, too, I'll talk about, Dean, and I do think there is a possibility there. And the one thing I will say is fuel. The fuel load. And if you practice with this car and know what it's going to do, you will find speed by taking less fuel. I mean, less weight is going to be more speed, but you have to be able to adapt to that. A lot of drivers, with a fixed setup, they're like, I don't want to change the handling. I'm taking full fuel. And that's fine. That's well and good. But when I look at these times, Dean, I'm noticing a trend here. And the trend is, I think Jason Ratliff might have taken less fuel. And I do wonder, based on his lap times and where everybody else is, I do wonder if everybody else, except maybe some of these guys that like Michael Walker and Jason Spear, I wonder if these other guys took a full load.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt that for me personally, taking less fuel is a bit of an art form, right? I have a certain number I like when you talk about fixed racing. I can't do adjustments. So it's not like I can take 10 gallons less. It's just going to upset the balance too much. But there is a point, there is good returns up to a point, and you got to find that point, how much gas to get in. And I think Jason Ratliff probably got it right here tonight.
Yeah, the only thing I can say is that if these guys that pitted on lap 63, if they didn't take a full tank, I mean, their pit times indicate they may have, but we'll see how it all shakes out. Chris Owens on pit road. I don't know if he's.
I think that's
he
a
is
retirement.
Retired from the race.
Yeah,
he is retired. So
very shame.
He couldn't get back.
We've seen that Chris Owens 2 retirements this year. I think race 1, him and Ratliff had a little incident, if I'm not mistaken. Regardless, this has not been Chris Owens' season. Things are not going his way.
Hey, and it's difficult. I mean, it's kind of a, I think a morale shatterer when you dominate races. I mean, he dominated Charlotte. He was very good at Rockingham, and the pit stops kind of just didn't work in his favor there. He was dominant in the opening stands of this race. And I think 2 of the races this year, Dean, tonight for sure, self-inflicted. Rockingham, maybe not. Charlotte probably out of his control. And, when you speed on pit road, it's demoralizing sometimes, Dean.
Well, and you get in these ruts. We talk about momentum all the time, Jared, and how, getting your first win will lead to many, perhaps, and, you work your way up, top 5s, top 3s, all this type of thing. The reverse is true, too. You can get snake bit, man. It's happened to all of us iRacers, and you just can't seem to get anything right.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there. I mean, I've lost... this year, at the beginning of the year, I lost about 400 or 500 iRating on my main account, and it's just like, and it's like nothing you do it. You just you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, net code or something stupid. Your computer shuts off in the middle of a race. Like, just everything that could happen happened to me at the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
besides just getting wrecked.
Those bad luck things can lead to bad decisions and even simple mistakes like speeding on pit road. Like, you get flustered after you've had a string of bad luck, Jared, and you're just not the same driver until you work your way out of these things.
Yeah, and the thing I will say to any driver going through a rut, and Dean, you can add on or maybe have a different opinion than I do, is don't try to force it, but just try to work through it and be when you're going through a stretch of bad races, instead of being like, damn, I had a winning car and I finished 5th, be like, damn, I finished 5th tonight. That's a good run. And sometimes like changing the attitude helps a lot to kind of get yourself back in a positive mind space to get good results moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, it gets so bad sometimes, Jared, these string of races. I'm right there with you where I'm happy to finish 20th. Just let me finish. So, let's back out. Let's let some people go and let's get this car around the track one race. We'll worry about maybe race 2. We'll try and get it a little harder up to 10th or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dean, I want to get back to looking at the top group here. Noticing lap times over the last few laps, Dean. Lance Ripka getting a little bit of pressure from West Pistol. That 98 machine is coming to the front.
Yeah, I liked early on what we've seen from Pistol. Let's go on board and see what we can figure out from how he's driving the machine. And then already I can tell you that low exit out of 2, I love it so much. It's almost like you avoid a hill or something. You get a different drive off of 2 there.
Yeah, and that's the line that I was talking about earlier. Hug that white line off the exit. And kind of diamond in the center. So here we go, down into turn 1. You see right there, a little bit of counter steering on entry, but look at him where he's pointing that car. Late apex. Right there where that patch of pavement is always where you want to hit the apex of that corner. No matter your line running, he's pulling that car down. It gets a nice opening off the corner. Down to turn 1, down 3, right on the white line. I mean, you can't do it any better than that, folks. Get on that white line, eat the paint, open the wheel up. Could use him to open up the wheel just a little bit earlier, let that car kind of wash out to the apex. But otherwise, I can't see a whole lot he's doing wrong here, Dean. But I would like him to, and right there, actually, he's shoving the nose just a little bit. I think he got in a little bit too deep that lap.
Yeah, he did, but it was pretty minor, right? But I loved what you said, Jared, there about that patch of pavement. I've been talking about it for years and years. I tend to get into that corner earlier than most, lower earlier than most. But that is, when you said no matter what your line is, that's your apex. That is correct. You can go high to low. You can go low entrance and push out a little bit early. But the apex is that patch of pavement.
Absolutely. And you have to get there and get the lefts down there and make sure that car is rotated, ready to accelerate at that point. That's what we talk about that's the apex, no matter your line. What I mean is you got to be getting back on the gas at that point, otherwise you're in a world of trouble.
For the people who can't see it, watch here as we go down into the corner. There'll be right down by the white line, there's a little square patch. We're coming to it right now. He just went over it, so it's hard to see, but me and Jared are familiar with it, so we see it pretty easy.
Yeah, and that's that patch is actually there because of the other tunnel on the track in 1 and 2. So just a little
now, if I'm not mistaken, isn't this isn't there a sewer or something on pit exit that used to get people?
Yeah, I think that has been fixed over the years, but yes, at one point in time there was some problems there.
Might be showing my age here, Jared.
Yeah. Also allegedly was built on some sacred land, and which is why this track has had so many weird things that have happened. Not quite the Talladega sacred land stuff that is ruminated, but Texas definitely has an interesting history, to say the least.
Wow, interesting stuff there. Little history lessons here tonight in the booth. Always love those. I'm going to blame my next wreck on that, Jared.
You should. I mean, there's no other reason, Dean. A driver of your skill, you're not wrecking.
Well, I was going to say, my next wreck is right around the corner. They tried today, Jared. They couldn't get me. I drove her through the grass and saved her.
Love to hear it. We did get some pit stops. Todd Gilly, 5 laps down. He's on pit road. I think that he's just trying to get some pace here. He's had couple speeding penalties and has undone his night.
Yeah, Rough night for some, not for the rifleman. A country drive so far. I considered, or thought that maybe his pit stop was, premature, but the whole field had to stop short of halfway. So he's in fantastic shape. He's opened up a 5-second lead. Right now, he is still one of the fastest on the track. Other guys, Michael Walker and Jason Spear, the two guys on the late stop, they are the fastest, and they're about 0.4 faster than our leader. They've shaved about 6 seconds down off the lead of Jason Ratliff, but they're still 14 seconds back, Jared.
They are, and they're coming up on Ross Weiss, and that's a driver we talked about being very good and having some really good runs in Texas in a couple different seasons and cars. But out of all the drivers here, these three drivers are running a kind of a middle line. Ross Weiss is kind of running a middle high line through the track, and Walker and Spear are kind of running a middle line in 3 and 4, putting their lefts on the seam. And we talked about Pistol when we were on board with him. He was eating that paint. Well, the same thing can be said. I prefer the paint if you can get down to it, but if you need a little bit of handling, eating the seams is also just as effective. You see there, Spear getting by Weiss.
Absolutely. And Spear does look good, by the way. I love the line he was driving before he made that pass. Good thing he was a little high there, because Fleming came in right in front of him, and maybe that's why he was up the track.
And you watch right here on the entry, look at Michael Walker, a lot longer apex. Weiss gets in there a little bit early, and now he's washing up the track, and that's the difference right there, Dean. If you get in there early and you're not able to get the car to corner in the middle of the corner, it can just offset the balance. I mean, you got to really know what you're looking for when you go into the corner.
Yeah, and two, this is a very common thing there to push out to that wall early. I don't like it. I try and coach it out of people, but it's hard to ask people to. It's the old saying, Jared, go slow to go fast, and it's hard to get into a race car driver's head.
Yeah, and I don't think there was anything. I think Ross may have just been a little bit unsettled after the pass.
Oh, yeah.
Just didn't have the right angle there, but that he had older tires. I think the pass is going to be inevitable either.
Yeah,
way.
I'm not trying to put it on Weiss, but in general, that spot.
Yeah, just in general.
And we're seeing, what I'm noticing about these entrances to pit road, as we see Gilly coming in. Or no, that wasn't Gilly. That was, who was that? Greg Ratliff. All kinds of sideways. And I was going to say I've seen a lot of pedestrian entrances here, Jared. And it's because it's dangerous down there tonight.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about. It is, out of all the 1.5 milers, the transition, and here comes Michael Walker, Dean. That's a surprise. He had the fresh tires with Jason Spear, and he is on pit road.
Yeah, it is a surprise. Early stop. We've seen this last week or maybe last race. Several guys going long and then turning it into a short pit on the second run, Jared.
Yeah, and I don't know how to feel about that, because unless you've short-filled the car, which their pit times did not indicate that they did so, I don't see the point in doing that.
Yeah, I didn't.
Be blunt.
I didn't in the last race. I seen this either, but there's got to be a reason, right? Whether it's traffic out there, they don't like being behind, or I don't know. But it's an interesting decision for sure. Tony Ratliff on pit road now.
Starting to get some pitters here. Freem is on pit road as well, and here comes somebody else. That looks like Tom Lester, possibly. Yeah, Tom Lester on pit road.
So right now, the big gainer, Jason Spear, and I don't mean spots-wise, I just mean time-wise out there, he's still about 0.3 faster than our leader. Now 12 seconds back, so he continues to shave time. He's having a nice race here in 4th place tonight.
Yeah, and the problem that Jason Spear is going to run into is there is a finite time that he can stay out. Like, yeah, he pitted on lap 63. And, so in theory, he could go, probably to like 110, 115 without a problem. But if he stays out that long, that is only going to give him 30 laps or maybe 40 laps on the back end of this run, or 20 to 30 laps, I should say, on the back end of this run. That's not enough time to gain positions back. So that's the thing I hate about the long middle stint and then trying to shorten it up. It just puts you in such a box to where you can't really out strategy your opponents at this point unless you get a caution.
Yeah, but I mean, I agree with you completely on that statement. The only thing I would add to it is there are bonuses, that potential bonuses to staying out late, right? I mean, you could get a yellow. I mean, and maybe if you're in 10th place car, you could turn this thing into a victory by staying out and getting a caution at the right time.
Yeah, and you do have that significant tire advantage as Lance Ripka comes in from second position. Very, very good entrance. I mean, that is if a driver at home watches this replay back, how Lance Ripka got on this on pit road is how you should do it.
Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go on board with the rifleman here and see, as we expect pit stop for him here soon. And here he comes. Oh, and he's lost it. We're on board as the rifleman has lost it down to the inside wall.
That might be a yellow.
Boy.
No, he's going to get it going without a yellow.
No yelling, but lead evaporated. A 5-second lead when he did that. That is gone, folks. Wow, and you can see on board how treacherous it is.
Yeah, and the difference, Dean, I was watching this from high atop the towers over here, is he got down there too early. He got down too early, and he must have had his bias toward the back or something like that, Dean, because that car whipped down, but just not really what he was wanting. And West Pistol, Dean, by the way, was trying to pit as well, but Ratliff was kind of blocking him in, so he couldn't pit, so he lost time too. This could have opened the door for Lance Ripka to take over this race.
Wow. Interesting turn of events here late in the Texas 150. The Kylou Glass Gen 4 series producing again. Pistol in his stall. Spear, your new race leader. Let's go on board with him and see what's happening in his car.
And he's right behind Paul K. Travis. That is not for position.
And as of right now, Jared, he has the field lapped. He's begging for a caution.
Yeah, and the other thing too, Pistol had to slow down because he had committed to pit road. But with Ratliff sitting there blocking pit road entry, he had to go back around another lap. So Jason Spear actually passed West Pistol on the racetrack, not during pit stop. So Pistol lost a ton of time because of that. And here, you watch Jason Spear. I mean, this thing is kind of playing into his role. But again, you have to make sure you leave enough laps on the back end of this race to make something happen. And Dean, I think he's got to pit in the next 2 or 3 laps, in my opinion, to make it work.
Yeah, I'm curious as to whether he will or not, Jared. I think I'd get on pit road now, but he may wait till Ripka gets around him to get his lap back. It's very enticing to have the field lapped.
It is. It can be and with pit road being the way it was, I can understand that, but everybody's pitted. The only driver that has not pitted is Adam Newton, but he's 4 laps down. I don't think that there's going to be an issue there. So I don't think you're going to be able to get a pit road caution that you may have gotten when those cycles were going on.
So Ripka pitted on lap 95. He's in second right now. Jason you got Michael Walker in third. He pitted on lap 90, a little earlier. Jason Ratliff, he pitted on 96, but he lost all that time on pit road spinning. He is absolutely flying. He just set the best lap of the race at 29.88, 1 lap ago.
I think that's the only driver so far in the 29.8s, by the way. But yeah, I mean, I think Jason Spear, as soon as Ripka gets to you and passes you, you gotta get on pit road. And Michael Walker, by the way, he's got Jason Ratliff right up on his back bumper at this point. As Rachel Hunt letting them both go, and not too far behind them is Ross Weiss, Dean. And you talk about West Pistol, so I insult to injury. We talked about him not being able to get on pit road because Jason Ratliff had spun and slid and kind of blocked that entry. He also sped on pit road, Dean. So this whole race is just flipped upside down for many drivers.
It really has. Let's talk about some of our movers. Weiss in 5th. He's up 8 right now. Yeah, Greg Ratliff, he's had a nice night. He's fought a couple little problems tonight, but he's salvaging it. He's in sixth. Tom Ashley been solid. Not a big mover, but I have been wanting to bring him up for a while. We'll get back to him. Jason Brantley up sixth. He's into eighth. And Paul Travis up 8 spots into 10th. Those are your big movers.
Yeah, Tom Ashley, what a race he's had. By the way, I mean, Tom, you know,
Oh,
third
and
year.
Brantley.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, Brantley right behind Ashley was completely sideways. He saved it. A little dirt tracking master right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was insane. Barely got a look at it, but you know, I wanted to bring up Tom Ashley. I mean, what a run he's had. Also, I believe, Dean, if I'm not mistaken, a 30-year military veteran, if I'm not mistaken. But
20, I believe.
you know, 20. So there you go. Sorry, it was off. My mouth was off. But yeah, I mean, Tom Ashley, solid driver, solid guy. I mean, doing a good job. And the thing, you know, we didn't talk a lot about Greg Ratliff and Tom Ashley tonight, but these are wily veterans, right? And they just kind of find their spot on the racetrack and they take the position that they get.
Yeah. And we've talked, like Greg, we know, you know, he's known as the big dog, not because, you know, because he's new to this, because he's been around, he's won championships. This is a high quality driver. Tom hasn't been around as long, but he's got those chops. He drives a lot like a veteran, and especially over the last year, Jared, I've just been so impressed with the 62. So these are 2 good ones here in 6th and 7th right now. But out on the track, it's still Spear leading. He's lost about 10 seconds of that lead by staying out here. He's got to get to pit road, Jared.
Yeah, I think he's hurting himself if he doesn't come in soon.
Yeah, it's probably too late already. I like staying out for a bit, hoping for a caution, but it may be time. Spear might be thinking, though, I want to win this thing. The only way I'm going to win it is we get a caution. So I don't know, but I mean, he's got a good top 5, top 3 car here tonight. I think he should come in. There's Ripka, 25 seconds back. He ran a 30-40. The Rifleman closing in a 30.33. The only question, did he come out and go too hard? Can he run down Ripka? Michael Walker in 4th right now, running solid times. The 22 did that funky go long and then go short strategy. I don't understand it, but it's working for him, Jared.
Yeah, and I'm kind of trying to pull up some information here. He does have enough of an advantage over Ross Weiss tire-wise and distance-wise that this might work out positively for him to be right around, you know, the back into the podium if things kind of fall his way. But I think a top 5 is going to play out for Michael Walker, even with that pit strategy, Dean.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I mean, you know, just because I don't like it don't mean nothing. How many times we've been wrong up here, Jared? It's one thing to call it from the booth. I mean, it's not that we don't have some knowledge to call things, but we're not in the car. We don't understand exactly what's going on. Michael Walker does, doing a great job. Spear remaining on the track, 25 to go at the line. I mean, not sure what's going on, but he's just going to stay out.
Yeah, and the problem is, you know, there's not even a opportunity, Dean, if he's maybe 5 laps short on fuel or something, right? You know, you could go down pit road and just take a splash of gas, but that's still, you know, 40-second pit lane time. You're already given up, you know, 3 or 4 spots just by doing that strategy. So I just don't know. Maybe he can make it, but I can't imagine that happening.
Claus Williams on pit road, so that's not good news for the 16. There's Ripka, and right in the picture comes the Rifleman, Jason Ratliff, looking to make it 3 in a row here tonight. The times last time by, Jared, 1/100th of a second faster was Ratliff.
Yeah, and you know, and now Ripka was just a click faster than Ratliff that time. So I mean, Ripka is doing what he can to stay in front of Ratliff at this point in time, and Ratliff is going to have to be the guy to pass. We haven't really seen a battle for the lead here tonight at all. So on track. So, I mean, this is going to be really interesting if Ratliff gets to him. We don't really know what that looks like yet.
Shane Fleming on pit road as well. And, you know, you always talk about the wily vet, Jared. That's exactly what Ripke is. You know, he came in one lap earlier than Ratliff, and I think Ripke tried to manage that machine. He knows Ratliff's coming, and he's just trying to save enough to fight him off here.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have a little bit in the tank. And like I said, these guys battled really hard last week at Rockingham with Chris Owens. You know, I don't think Ripke is going to go down without a fight tonight. I think that he's going to take it to Ratliff. He knows how good he is at Texas, how dominant he's been, not just in this car, in the Xfinity car, pretty much anything that shows up at Texas, he's going to be a force here. And Ratliff, man, I mean, he's a force everywhere. So this is going to be a compelling last little bit of this race.
It really will. And we look in on Tony Ratliff. He also been a force lately. He just got by the big possum of Jason Brantley. So Tony Ratliff doing what he does, closing late here. He's looking at another 2.5 seconds up to Greg Ratliff.
We got the big dog. We got the big Ratliff. The big
Possum.
Possum, the rifleman. Dean, what's your nickname? Everybody else got a nickname in this league.
Big fat blank. No, I'm just kidding. You're getting old, Jared. The belly's getting bigger. I got to get to the gym with you.
Yeah, it keeps you disciplined, Dean.
It does, but the one thing I've been blessed with a body that recovers. So a month and a half of working out, and I get back about 90 to 95% back to form. So it's something I've been blessed with my whole life.
That's always
big benefit. You know, a lot of people have to work really hard, and I don't as hard. And you know, I really guys like you who are dedicated and work on it, man. I really admire what you guys are able to do. I can only put a month or two in, and Spears in, so our leader has come in here with what 19 to go. Jason Spear takes to pit lane and takes the slow crawl down pit road. Very painful. I'm going to stay with him here, Jared. We're going to see if he decides to take some tires or what exactly he's going to do here.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any play that he can do to try to win this race at this point. I mean, here comes right there. Let's see where second place is. They're on the back straightaway.
Yeah, he's already fallen to 6th. He'll come out maybe in 8th or 9th. So there he is. Yeah, he's fallen to 8th.
I mean, he almost is a lap down. Here, the leaders are at the line right now. So, yeah, I mean, he has lost a ton of time. And I think he'll be able to get 9th, 8th, probably 7th. After that, I think it's going to be a pretty tough gamble to get any higher than 7th here tonight, and maybe not even 7th.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the tire drop-off or the time drop-off, not that dramatic in these cars, but I think he'll be fighting Tom Ashley for 5th. Maybe he could get that far if he really turns up the wick. Right now, the race, though, about Ripke and Ratliff. Ratliff closing in now. He gained about a 10th or 2 over the last couple of laps, and you can see him visually coming into picture.
Another battle I do want to talk about that might heat up here in the next 5 or so laps. Tom Ashley, quite a bit faster than Ross Weiss. That would be a battle for 4th position. So just something to keep an eye on as these laps come down.
You know, something we didn't touch on, or at least I don't remember, Jared. What happened to Wes Pistol? Was he another victim of a penalty?
Well, that we did talk about it, Dean. But so Ratliff spun going on the pit road. Yes. Pistol was committed to pit, had to abort, came back in, and when he came back around, he sped on pit road.
But I mean, he sped, right. Okay. So Wes Pistol, very tragic as well. Him, Owens, and a few others as well. Troubles have been very slick entering pit road.
Yeah, Pistol right now is about 7 seconds from a top 10, so it's going to be pretty difficult for him to get into the top 10. I mean, Paul Travis coming out of turn 4 right now. Pistol just now getting to the start finish line. So about a half a lap behind. So I don't think he's going to be able to pressure for a top 10 without something else happening here tonight.
Spear about 1.2 seconds faster than the people in front of him. He gets by Tony Ratliff for 7th. He'll definitely get to Greg Ratliff. Can he get to Tom Ashley or anyone else? Maybe. He's flying around the track.
Yeah, I really didn't think he'd have enough time to get to 7th. I thought 7th was about his ceiling, but he's quite a bit faster than I anticipated him being. But I think that fall off is still going to be too much. He's there on Greg Ratliff now as it is.
Yeah, he's definitely going to get Greg. I think he'll get Tom as well, but I'm not sure if the way it will play out, as the Bulldog gets in the way of both cars, nowhere to go for him. So Spear gets by Greg Ratliff, and Greg gets hung up behind the Bulldog.
Yeah, and here comes Adnoon on pit road.
Yeah, I think he realizes he's kind of in the way, and he's had enough.
Yeah, and Greg and Adam, I'm sure that they don't have any beef, but we've definitely seen some incidents between those two drivers over the years we've been covering RGR in various forums.
Yeah, well, beef or no beef, Jared, you have memories stay with you, and whether they're the right side or the wrong side is depends on who you talk to. So drivers will do little things, and whether that was one of them or not, I don't know.
Yeah,
I know this, Jared.
Like, Williams.
I still remember anything that me and you have been involved with, and I would never wish ill out on the track, but who knows on a given night.